J'espère que je me suis pas trompé. Je vais essayer ça pour voir. Smother. C'est la même chose. Okay, I think we are live now. I hope there's no mistake. So okay, so this is bracket 7 group 1, and it's between Brazilian daniwinks and Swiss Beargwynk. Sorry for the roller coaster of messages and stuff. I just played my set and I thought it was better to cast to this very day. Oh, nice. Okay. I was very slow because I was thinking that this was the transition before people come. But we have 2 spectators in the chat, so I'm going to speed up a bit. So once again, it's between Swiss Beargwynk and Brazilian Beargwynk, Brazilian daniwinks. I'm going to launch the game right now, actually. So if we gather information from IOT Insights, I like to always start like this. The problem with this tournament is that, okay, maybe I'm not going to speak too fast because we have 2 non-native speakers. I'm also a non-native speaker, but like I don't know what your level of English is and everything. E meu português não é muito bem. Et mon français ça va, mais on va faire en anglais. Donc, with the information we have, basically there are 2 Arabia players mainly, with a bit of arena. I have noticed that daniwinks is a bit better on arena, so I could expect maybe some more closed maps from daniwinks, but every time I do some guesses and stuff, I'm usually wrong. So we're just going to see from this. Oh no. Oof. All right. So if we look at so we can't say that much. Also, as for the civs, I've noticed that a lot of players in this tournament, even in any elo, they all play random civ. Like I'm one of the few that don't really. I play several civs, but I never go random. So never coming here. Hamster, I think, yeah, Hamster, I think it was one of the previous ones. It's even funnier that actually, because I had, in a previous tournament, I had Hamster versus something, and I think there was an X somewhere, and I decided to add an X in the thumbnail. So I had one player who was called in the thumbnail X Hamster, because I thought it was funny. But yeah, that was a tournament from, I suck at Arena. Maori, I think Maori is... Maori, are you daniwinks? But most arena players only play arena and are one trick pony. I don't know. Personally, I'm mostly an arena player, I would say, because it's the map that I've played the most. But I don't play only arena, and I'm not even sure that this is my best map. I think I'm better in nomads in general. So nomad. Okay, you are not nomad players, but that could be seen from here. My computer is getting a bit slow. I have to delete my Discord. I'm asking so much from my computer, and sorry, it's not going to be captured. So let's continue with the draft. So we're going to get a quite open map from daniwinks, Wolf Hill, and Fish and Fish. So these are new maps because in the games I have casted, I don't think there was they were there. I think the wall could have been good for. Actually, for wait, I forgot. I think daniwinks is the Beargwynk is the better one on arena, I think. Well, no. Well, you're pretty even. In theory, daniwinks, you should be the better one on the wall, but you have your own feeling about it, so. To race, golden, and so, okay, yeah. So I think this is going to, even though you consider yourself as not good on arena, I think this should favor you to some degree, daniwinks. but it's hard to say. You are very similar in terms of playstyle and maps you play and stuff like this. And as for the civs, I can't say anything because random. Okay, you had no idea, right? So we're going to see the Britons. So that's very original. But if you're confident that you can beat an archer civ, it really makes a lot of sense. One thing, I think that it's interesting to do a when you do this draft. I think it's always interesting to pick civs that are predictable for your opponent. So you can practice versus the archers, and it's something that makes it easier in a sense. So I think it's actually very good to pick this kind of civs. But the rest are very different though. We have a cavalry civ, we have a fairly infantry civ. So these are very it's all over the place. One thing which is risky when you go too many civs too different is that you allow your opponents to pick the better one for each map. It can be interesting as well to just pick civs that are very similar to each other, so your opponent cannot really adapt to the maps. Okay, you did the random pick. I know someone in the tournament who forgot to use random, but yeah. Poles. I think Poles are a very solid civilization. Poles and Slav is going to be very especially for these maps. I think these are actually for all the maps. These are very solid maps. Civs, I mean. And we're going to see the Incas, the Bulgarians, the Skills. I also, in my own sets, I also got the Incas. My opponent gave me the Incas. And I played the Inca on Heredo Ia. Would be interesting if you did the same. And he really destroyed me. Yeah, what's to ban? I can play anything. When you think like that, it depends on if you mean civs or maps. But if you mean civs, then one thing that you could do, for instance, is, as I said, you can just pick civs that are very similar to each other. So that means first you can practice more. Like if you practice a lot versus archers with the AI or with friends, then you are going to be prepared. And if your opponent picks gets the Britons and doesn't play archers, they are not going to play the strength of their civilizations. They're pretty much required to play archers, and you are prepared versus the archers. Or you can also do that, but just pick cavalry civ. You get the idea. So that's one way you can think about it. And the other way is just to pick worse civs in general, or civs that cannot really. For instance, civs that are slow, civs that are better in close maps. If in the draft you get fairly open map, then you can just pick the Byzantines basically. So that's another way to put it. So that's for the drafts. And just before we start the game, we have the little introduction.
Je suis suisse, mais quelle heure est-il? Moi je sais. Suisse, c'est propre ici, non? Bah ouais. Suisse, et l'ordre des nazis? S'il te plaît. Suisse. Je suis suisse et je suis poli. C'est bien. Je suis suisse et j'ai les moyens. Youpi. Je suis suisse, mais suis-je sexy? Oui, mais surtout gentil. Oh non. Suisse.
And there we go. So now we can jump to the games. I came prepared. So window. So it's all black just for a few seconds. Sorry. No, not this. Here we go. Oh, yes. So, the first game... So, yeah, the Heredo Ia. So, it's going to be two cavalry civs. I think these are very solid civs in a lot of ways. And I think this map, you can expect a lot of action in the Castle Age. And these are two civs that have very solid options for Castle Age. So, that's going to be very interesting. And it's really going to be a clash between two similar stuff, two cavalry monsters with a very well armored cavalry units and stuff. Okay, the beginning is a bit slow by for some reason I also struggled to remember to make houses for some reason. Just like you. Okay, just like okay, both of you actually. Maybe that's because you saw the houses like in the outside, but the problem is you need some time for your scouts to reach them. So it's very interesting that both of you did the same mistake, but yeah, it's better to at least have one house. Then maybe you can use the fact that your scout is going to get the houses. It's super strange because you keep these are Gaia, so they will keep being exchanged between the two players. And that means that your population is going to jump like crazy. But it's better to just have you shouldn't rely too much on these houses. It's better to just have some margin, basically. That's the way I think one should see it. By the way, I'm reading the chat, and you're saying the ban is mostly about what you don't want to be given. Okay, the ban. Okay, sorry, the ban. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't mention that. Yeah, the ban. I think it's the two of them actually. It's what you don't want to be given, but yeah, I think you're right. It's mostly about what you don't want to be given. But in my case, for instance, I play terrible with the Aztecs, and I play terrible versus the Aztecs. So it was a no-brainer for me. You just have to trust AoE Insights. If you have no idea, just trust AoE Insights. You go to your profile, and you check your stats, and you see what are the civs that you are solid versus, and what. Oops. Okay, that's a bit messy. Okay, there we go. I did the same. Because it's a bit complex to go around the gate and stuff. It's better to just delete a bit of the wall. I'm not a fan of this mill, honestly. Because the deer are very close to the town center, and it doesn't take that much time for the scout to push them. So I think it's better to push them on this map. Because even if you're the first to get a house, it doesn't change anything, because your opponent is going to get them the next time they visit. So it's not really a matter of being the first in this map. It's just a matter of controlling for the longest these kind of buildings, I would say. Okay, very nice reaction by daniwinks. I really like that. You're not the first player to do that. Okay, both of you actually. So maybe it's something that the pro did do or something, or maybe it's just common sense. But interesting. The economy is pretty solid from both of you. By the way, I forgot to bring up the Elo. I was going to say something, but I forgot. I forgot which one is the favorite. But I think one of you is slightly above. Which one of you is 100 and 1100? Okay, daniwinks. Okay, I was gonna say, kinda forgot about their scouts. I'm going to accelerate a bit now. Ooh, an extension on the walls. That's nice. I think you can just add a palisade wall. It's easier. So Beargwynk could click, but decides to have a good castle age. So daniwinks is going to be to feudal age slightly before. It's no. Actually, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, it's going to be basically the same timing. So both of you decided not to do too much in feudal, it seems. But we're gonna see that, because you can maybe adapt to what happens. I wasn't sure if there was a hole here or a tree. In one of the games that I casted recently, it's very interesting because the mill and the mills and the farms. So one thing that happens in a game I casted a few days ago is that there was this mill and the farms next to a TC, and one of the farms was like one row more to the northeast, and so it means that the palisade wall were on top of the farms, and so the villager very regularly would circle around the gate and go to here to farm the palisade, because the palisade was the farm was under the palisade. They would regularly go here to farm the palisade itself, which was super inefficient. And the admin, when I brought that up to the admin, they said it's the neutral farms, so it doesn't matter. And I can see that here now, because in this generation, the farms are kinda neutral. Although it's a little rigged in favor of daniwinks, because daniwinks you have better farms that you can wall more easily, especially this one. Like this one is not super easy to wall for Beargwynk. This one is way better for daniwinks. So I see that the generation is very unequal. But yeah, in your case, they are more neutral. But in the game I had casted, it was one here and one here. So it was not really neutral farms. So I can see that the generation, surprisingly, can really change, makes things very different from one game to the other. I appreciate the attempt, but this is going to cost a lot of wood. Super costly. And at some point you need to finish it. Yeah, interesting. Okay, there we go. Because I thought that this... I was going to think that this was supposed to be her job, but she went quickly to this side, so this was exposed for a very long time. So we're not going to see any special action in feudal. Both of you guys are really going for fast castle, which makes sense because you don't really have infantry sieve. You rather have a cavalry sieve. So I'm going to accelerate a bit once again. In your stead, I would make a gate. Remember that if you make a gate on top of palisade walls, the palisade are just lost. Like, it's just wasted wood. So if you want to add a gate, you have to add it right away. I know a lot of pros don't add a gate because for various reasons. But you need to have a very solid attention span and APM if you want to not have gates. Because otherwise it's just going to be a pain. Okay, so there is still some difference in the timings for Castle Age. So very nice timing for Beargwynk. A little slow for daniwinks, I would say. From the distance, it looks like this is one unit, and it's a cavalry lancier. Okay, not again, not anymore, but I would Jarvis. This game makes us used to having swordsmen on top of horses. Like most of the cavalry units have swords, and this is not very realistic because most of the time in the Middle Ages, the cavalry would have lances instead, spears, which makes a lot of sense. Because when you're from the horse, it's not very practical to use a sword. Unless it's a very long sword. Very efficient raid here. Because these are going to be off work for a very long time. We don't see any more TC from Beargwynk. I'm not sure if this is on purpose or something. Yeah, Beargwynk doesn't really have the wood. So very aggressive approach by Beargwynk. I suppose that we're going to see a lot of a lot of cavalry very soon. Scorpions. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is, but the plan is aggressive, no matter what it is. But for now, I think daniwinks has the better military, honestly. At this point. Look at the look at what the generation gave you. That man is the I'm not sure what religion. Okay, he's Orthodox, but this kinda makes him like look like an animist or Shintoist or something. Okay, we do see a TC in the end for Beargwynk, a very light TC. So this is a bit surprising, I would say, but I mean it's a good TC on the other hand. So, like, the plan looks... I'm a bit confused by what the plan is, and I'm not sure you have a plan, actually, in the end. One thing that really helps you get better at AUE2 is to know what you're going to do. Like, I want to do a Castle Age, and in the beginning of Castle Age, I'm going to do this and this, and so I need the resources for it, and... very booming approach by daniwinks. And daniwinks is kinda strengthening their what's the word? They are being better, like their advance. Currently, it's Scorpions versus Cavalier, and I'm not very convinced by this matchup. But we're going to see monks, so monks could really make the difference. So that's going to be RIP. All the Scorpions are gone now. And look at the difference it made in the score. Who was it? Who was what? Okay, who opened the gate? I think it was the Scorpion. If I remember correctly, it was the Scorpion. Scorpions. Huh? Yeah, it was the Scorpion. So the Scorpions had... Okay, the monk does a lot of work, but as for the Scorpions, they pretty much did nothing. All they did was to open the gate. So I think they're working for your enemy, honestly. I think they didn't kill a single unit. The game is starting to look very rough, honestly. Ah, let him open the gate first. Good, nice job. So this time it was a villager. Yeah, I think you shouldn't have sent back the villager to the TC because there was a small difference. So the cavalier plus the villagers fighting against the cavalier, it wouldn't have been enough to deal with it. This is a lot of idle villagers time. Let's check the number. Yeah, there's 25. The difference of villages. And now we're going to get a big push by daniwinks. I like the choice of units from Beargwynk. It's kinda original. It was interesting, but the problem is that you didn't have the very efficient timings and stuff like this. I think this was the issue. We have a very nice congregation now. To be fair, monks can really reverse the situation. So let's see that. One monk was enough to send all the villagers to the TC. But let's check that. We have two monks killed, I think. 3, 4. Ouch. Five. Okay, I forgot which color was which, actually. Yeah, right. Ouch. So daniwinks did lose a big amount of his army, but that being said, you can click to Imperial Age. And I'm not sure that this is true for Beargwynk. I think I should call you Beargwynk, not Bear. It's like bear, the animal. Beargwynk. Like, you have a very nice advantage in daniwinks, but you really need to spend. You need to spend more on military, and you need to spend in clinking to the next stage. Like, you really have the resources for that. Otherwise, you're letting a slight window of opportunity for your opponent. Honestly, the battles were kinda close. You're mentioning them in the chat, but it didn't seem like it was completely one-sided. There was a good amount of loss on both sides. Okay, so nice job from Beargwynk. Your monks are super good, because I've never seen a monk talk to a building, but somehow you make it change colors. So your words are super effective. I would hate to be in the position of daniwinks. I hate monks. They stress me out. Okay, so we have a ton of buildings changing colors. And that can make a momentum happen. Please, daniwinks, you need to click to Imperial Age. Look at your resources. That's quite okay. There we go. And you clicked into Imperial Age in the proper building, so that's nice. The proper TC, I mean. Given the situation, you could consider switching to scouts to deal with the monks. Scouts are going to do just as good as Cavalier versus Scorpions, and they are going to be leagues better than Knights to fight against monks. There's actually a big swing in momentum, like currently. Beargwynk is not going to be Imperial Age, so that's one thing. But there's really something going on here. Lots of villagers killed. Let's check the number of villagers. It's getting equal now. Okay, a lot of Scorpions are going to be dead though. It's almost even, actually. Like, these monks are... You can't sleep on the monks, really. They did a crazy job. The good thing with monk is that monks are good at psychic work. They really stress like they're supposed to be good at the nice. They're supposed to be good at using their minds, and it's even what happens to the players. They don't just use their minds on buildings and units, they also use their power against the minds of the players, because when you fight against monks, you are so stressed. You keep hearing this very annoying sound. You see your building switching colors, your units switching colors. It really stresses you out. That's the strength of monks, and because of that, they can really swing a momentum. They can really make the game change color, basically. And I suppose we are going to see mangonels from daniwinks. I think that's the idea. Would be interesting to go for rams, but that would be a bit surprising, because rams are another counter versus scorpions. But mangonels are usually better, still. Remember that scorpions are now affected by ballistics. So when you do scorpions, you need to remember to have a university and click on ballistics. It makes a big difference. Okay, nice job by the scouts. Scouts are even better than knights to deal with scorpions. So they did a crazy job. And now the army from Beargwynk is very limited. Beargwynk has very little units right now. It does have many villages on gold, so still can produce a good amount of monks. But the problem with monks is that currently your opponent is only making scouts, so monks are not going to be super strong versus that. Nice reaction by daniwinks. Unless maybe it's the tech. Maybe it's because you use the tech in the monastery. But this looked like this didn't look like the tech making the unit die. It really looked like you manually clicked on delete yourself. Ooh, we're going to see a lot of monks dead. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a lot of kills. I think killed one. But it's really a matter of resilience, because Beargwynk still has some gold, but it's not going to last forever. So you have basically like 15 minutes to resist, and once these are gone, then Beargwynk will have pretty much nothing to fight. Oh, a lot of kills by the scorpions though. Look at that. Oof. And just with that, Beargwynk gets the score lead now. Beargwynk does have a huge... I didn't spot that, but look at the difference in number of villages. And daniwinks is spending all their resources in units right now. Like there's very little in the bank. And the issue is that Beargwynk still has the momentum and the fighting spirit, I think. But when you're daniwinks, you just feel powerless, I think. I think that's what happens. Like, I think this is winnable for daniwinks, still. Okay, nice reaction by daniwinks. I'm checking the goals right now. This is very inefficient. Beargwynk is all in the attack. I think Beargwynk pretty much never checks their economy. But they don't really need to. Look at that. All of this is getting destroyed. This is what remains of the safe economy for daniwinks. One thing which is great with monks and scorpions and stuff like this is that they are very solid in small amounts, in small numbers. So what was good for that Beargwynk was that they could afford to have a crazy amount of villagers and still have a solid military army. I think that's what happened here. A nice reaction by Beargwynk. I think Beargwynk is going to steal the founts. No, actually no. Maybe not yet. This is getting close to a GG. But it's crazy because I really thought that the game seems really won by daniwinks already. A small attempt at counter-attacking by daniwinks, but the comeback is possible. Yeah, it's still possible, but it's getting very, very difficult now. Didn't go BBCs. Well, one thing with the bombard cannon is that you need the university. You need to click on to research chemistry, which takes a very long time. Chemistry is super slow to research, and you need to spend 300 food and 200 gold on that tech. And on top of that, you also my game is lagging. And on top of that, you also need then to produce the bombard cannon, which costs a lot of resources. So I think all of this makes the bombard cannon, like, you really need to think about it. And so it's maybe that's it. Okay, double 11 from both players. I tend to not be a fan of 11, but when both players are using it, it works fine. So it's nice that you can have some good laugh in the end. Because, yeah, that was a crazy game, and I get the 11, because that was a clown game, basically. When you have this kind of clown strategy, so to speak, it always looks like the player who is doing it, like, is not winning, and it doesn't look possible and stuff. And always in the end, it's like somehow Palpatine revived, and it's like somehow the clown won, and you don't really understand what happened. It's kind of like this, because it's a lot of confusion. It's a lot of getting your opponent off guard, not knowing what to do. It's a lot of this. Like, I think on paper, it doesn't exactly work on paper, but it really comes down to the level of reaction and adaptation for your opponent. I think that's what happens. So for Fish and Fish, we are going to have a very solid civilization. I think Dravidians are quite good on this map. And it's going to be versus the Bulgarians. So we are expecting a lot of infantry, probably. So you didn't forget to make houses this time. But Eredo Ia is a special map. Very good scouting by Beargwynk. Very efficient. It's pretty good from daniwinks as well. But you need to be careful with this. When you use the ship to scout this area, and you know your opponent should be somewhere here, you might sometimes be offering your ship to the opponent. So for this reason, I think I prefer this scouting, because this is more safe. A bit of idle TC here. Okay. Okay, same timing. I've said it in another cast, but personally I think it's not mandatory to build your lumber camp at the 7th villager. It's just the meta, and because of that you just know what the timings are if you do it, but that doesn't mean that it's mandatory. Okay, I complimented the scouting, but there was a bit of idling and stuff here, so not perfect. I'm not sure why that happened. I think it was it's for the ball. Are you not confident in your ability to lure? I would get it if they were very far, but okay, nice. Okay, a bit of small mistakes by both players. Ah, something is happening here. I think it's a mill. Yeah, it's 600, so that's nothing to sleep on. Ooh, ooh, that was close. It's frightened. It would seem that Beargwynk is trying to go for a full wall approach. Because this looks like the foundation of a full wall. Okay, let's accelerate a bit. You kind of forgot about the water, though. There's one thing that that both of you forgot about is the water. Like, you need to invest some wood and some villager walking, but you do have actual fish. These are sea fish, and they are not that far from the land. So I really think that it's a kind of mandatory investment, I would say. As soon as you have the wood for it. Very synchronic timings. For most of the game, you guys have been doing the same things at the same time. What is this? Yeah, very similar army as well. It's all of this is very symmetric. But because of the bargain, okay, it's already the same here. Yeah, this is very even. It will come down a lot to micro and stuff. I think you could have won the fight if the villagers had helped. Okay, there we go. Finish him. Приказания. I like the fact that Bricozania. It's kind of sounds like he wants lasagna. He wants lasagna. Nope, great. Okay, that's a lot of you don't have the number yet. Ouch. Well, that being said, they're faster, I think, so it should be okay. Oops. Yeah, with the upgrade. Ouch. It was a good idea to go for archers, but the problem was that the timing and the fact of sending them early like this, it's kind of weakened you. Also, you should make a gate here, and then you wouldn't need to do all this for the walls. Like do something here and do something here. That would be more efficient. But yeah, I think sending the archers early, it really weakened the position for Beargwynk. Like it was very even just 2 minutes ago, and this fact alone really really gave a big advantage for daniwinks. And both players are thinking about water now. And that's a very solid army. A lot of units that are prepared to make a lasagna out of this city. And anyways, currently has the control on all of the fish here. And even here. And Beargwynk kinda forgot about the water. Sent the villagers, but the villager is forgotten. She just chills. Ah. That being said, there's one thing for Beargwynk, is that Beargwynk has a lot of resources in the bank, and that could mean maybe a click to Castle H in a short time. I'm not sure about it, but that's something that you could expect, perhaps. It's always in these situations you always have the dilemma. Like, do I want to press a little bit on feudal and win some battle, or do I want to click Castle Age now? And you know that there are risks in both situations, as well as rewards. So you don't know what to do in these situations. $150 wood for the buildings, but they have the buildings though, so they don't need wood. They just need a bit of gold. That's all. I keep using he and they alternatively for both of you. But I guess it's okay if I call you both a he, right? I can use a he as preferred pronoun, right? I'm not sure what the market is for. The market is good when you have an economy that is not fully balanced, or when you want to do some trick and stuff. But in your situation, I'm not... I don't see really which resources are supposed to be exchanged for which resources. And you already had the building, so These archers did a lot of work here. They pushed the villagers from here all the way to the TC. So once again, daniwinks starts with a nice advantage. And what's going to be what we have to check now is that daniwinks uses their advantage and doesn't fumble later because of monks or something. Ah, for the duck. Okay, sorry. I think you could make a big amount of damage here. We also see a market from daniwinks. Here again, I'm not sure about it, but that being said, it's true that you have a good amount of gold, and you're lacking wood for TC. So, in order to buy a TC, I can understand that. Are the archers going to do the same work as the monks did in the previous game? It's getting a bit even right now, so... Evacuation time. It's very frustrating. This should be working. You could deny the gold for a very long time. That's a very good, big amount of archers here. Them. That village was a hero. Yeah, we're going to see a TC here, I suppose. Yeah, but there's a... Well, there is a market, so you can just buy the... Okay, there we go. The very waited for raid. Okay, I think there were 2 kills. Be careful. No, be careful, be careful. Okay, keep going. Oof. Okay, big, nice raids on both sides. So both of you have to look at 2 different directions, which is always a bit difficult. I don't like this. You could have just buy the stone, buy the wood, and then you would have made the TC right away. You made the market and you forgot about the market. Then it's the same number of villagers, but The position is very similar, but I feel like Beargwynk has the mental energy, like the mental advantage compared to daniwinks. I can really feel the pressure and the like the stress going for against daniwinks. Nice job by the skirmishers though. There's one thing that daniwinks really has is this big advantage on water. Okay, nice moment to chill and relax. I like sometimes when in a game there's tension and battle and stuff, and then for like 5 minutes, both players just rebuild. Like they have their Marshall plan and they just take some time and relax. You need to have a gasp and then to consider the situation. What are the priorities? What are find your spirits back. It's these moments are very important, and it also makes the game more like less frustrating and so the more like fun to play. Because when you're too stressed, you kind of stop seeing the game as a game at some point. So that's why it's really important to have these moments where you just sit. That's unfortunate. Oof. Okay, sorry, I haven't read the chat for some time. How to use these scorpions? Oh, why do you mention scorpions here? Do you mean like these are similar to scorpions, or? Not sure I'm following you. Ah, castle. That's quite unfortunate for you, Beargwynk, because your opponent has a lot of units. Okay, the castle is denied. Okay, that one makes sense. It only challenges this this TC, but because of this castle, you couldn't do better. I think you could have made it here though, to be sure that you're not challenged too much. And well, I mean, it's okay, it's okay. Very even match here. Dum dum dum. Duh. I thought he was going for the relic, but it seems not. Newcastle? Ooh, right in the face. Do you know about this castle? Yeah, you do know. Okay, to be fair, it's not in the... The castle itself is denied, but not villagers working on it. Sorry if I'm a bit silent, but I'm not sure what to say. But there's a lot going on though, so it's not because nothing is happening. It's just I'm not sure what to comment on. But I like this game because it's very disputed, and I like the fact that you are both pushing on your opponent's base in the same time with some castle and crew post. It's very interesting. In theory, the villagers could destroy the ramps, but I didn't see it. I forgot the infantry, so this is okay. Oof. So I think Beargwynk was not looking at this. Not looking here. Okay, Beargwynk is on his economy. The one thing that daniwinks does well, though, is that daniwinks' base is not super well protected and walled, but as long as daniwinks pushes and manages to focus the attention of Beargwynk in his base, then it's okay because like daniwinks is not pressured right now. Like Beargwynk hasn't. That's right, but this wasn't happening for like 5 minutes, and it's all because of this. So that matters a lot. As they say, sometimes the best defense is to attack, and that's really what that's really showing in this game. Okay, we have an imp clicking by Beargwynk. No click soon for daniwinks. But daniwinks is going to push super hard right now. That's a big army going on. I really like this castle. It's a bit special, but it looks special. It looks very fortified. Like if you compare these two castles, they have the same stats. Okay, to be fair, this one has a better HP though. It's big. It's really big, and all of stone. So it looks like you can't break it. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I missed a few shots. I'm super sorry. I think there were some shots, and some infantry getting ripped, and I kinda didn't spot it. So also a click by daniwinks, but there's going to be like 1 or 2 minutes of difference in timings. Ooh, this castle matters a lot. This could push the whole momentum for daniwinks, and daniwinks is going to try to deny it. A lot of things is going to happen right now, but I think that there's enough army to stop this push by daniwinks. The crepust is coming, but I think the castle is not going to be denied, and because of that, Beargwynk is going to not focus on defending their base for some time, and then that means that they can focus on making trebuchet and stuff. To be fair, 2 creepers versus 1 castle, it's not undoable by the creepers. Like if you have some infantry fighting in the same time, it's I'm not sure actually. We don't see any trebuchet yet. Okay, here they are. Okay, sorry. Ouch. Trebuchet war starting. But the 2 minutes is going to make a big difference. But I think this made a big difference because of this castle, all the push from daniwinks, it's just 2 creepers versus a castle. So the economy is not really challenged. And because of that, all the attention from Beargwynk is focusing here, I think. Castle going down. This one is the next. Or maybe the TC. Yeah, I was wondering about this, Beargwynk. Intuitively, I would have thought that they could shoot each other, but I think you're right. I think you're right. Okay, that's unfortunate. Beargwynk, you need to react to this. I think it's going to be too late for this castle. So, oh, nice job. Ooh, nice. Okay, I think Beargwynk is focusing here. One thing that makes you improve in AoE 2, it's not easy. Yeah, I was going to say, it's to be able to attack at 2 places in the same time. So you want to continue pushing on this. So this is not the best because I would have preferred attacking the TC directly or attacking the other castle. But in any case, you need to attack while you are also attacking here. So it makes it more difficult for your opponent to react, and it gives you more opportunities overall. Beargwynk also has the number of the advantage in villages, and Beargwynk is going to fight back on water, and this is going to take daniwinks off guard, I think. Daniwinks is definitely not expecting it. Okay, although daniwinks has spotted it, so maybe they can react. Yeah, I think daniwinks is going to fight back on water. But this is a lot of investment, though. that's very interesting. 2 trebuchet fighting each other at like a 5 of distance. For archers, that would be normal, but for trebuchet, it's super weird to see them attacking so close to each other. I really like your capacity for adaptation and for making the right units to face your opponents. Like the unit choice from daniwinks makes a lot of sense. Ah, that makes sense. Because I was thinking that you were investing too much on water. But that makes sense. With a cannon galleon, you can really challenge a lot of land itself. So that makes sense. But you do need to if you expect your opponent to do something like this, you do need to make 2 or 3 fire ships to be sure that there's not going to be any problem here. Unfortunately for Beargwynk, the push on this side is finished now, and that gives a lot of room to breathe for daniwinks. Daniwinks could now go to this side and use the wood, because there's going to be some wood problem for daniwinks. We see elephants now, not just the elephant archers, but the elephant themselves. Your games are super chaotic. I really love them, and it's they are pretty even. There's been a good advantage for Beargwynk for most of the game, but it's not like a it's not one-sided. It's just an advantage, nothing more. It's still winnable for dynamics, I think. Okay, now we have the migration to the woods, finally happening. I love the fact that you're really using your civilizations in their full potential. Like the archer elephants, they did a crazy amount of job for the whole game. Even the elephants themselves. The infantry from the Bulgarians. We really saw the civilizations shine. Even though they are not, even though they are your opponent's picks, you still manage to use them very well. I think the big problem from you, daniwinks, is that in the last 5 to 10 minutes, you have had a good amount of resources actually, but you haven't really spent. And that means that you don't really have mass against them, because these are not undealable with if you just have the number of skirmishers and siege and maybe pikemen or something. But you need to produce. Also, you could make castles. Okay, now we have a castle, but that is super late. You could have made that castle like 10 minutes ago. But let's see if a new dynamic emerges out of this. Because it's looking very difficult right now. Sneaky. I'm not sure. I think Beargwynk. Yeah, I think this was what Beargwynk reacted to. But the castle goes down. There's just this basically now. I don't know what you're talking about. No, there's nothing to see. Go elsewhere. Nothing. But this castle is going down. Most villagers are getting killed. It's getting closer to GG now. Okay, the GG is called. I kinda regret that there was mostly no comeback in this game. Like, there was a comeback from 10 or 15 minutes because daniwinks had the advantage once again. daniwinks started with the advantage and lost it later. But then it was one-sided for... It was almost one-sided for most of the game. Like, not one-sided in the sense that it was unwinnable and it was GG and stuff, but one-sided at least in the sense that one player was winning for most of the game. Ooh. I think I like the Incas in this matchup. But it all comes down to your capacity to use them, because it's not super easy to use Mesoamerican civs. So we see the adaptation for daniwinks. Once again, both players are really paying attention to what civs they're using. And in this case, we could see that daniwinks only made one house. To be fair, though, I think I prefer to make 2 houses with the Incas in the beginning, because like, unless you are going to be very short in wood and stuff, like basically if you're playing on water I would understand. But in this map, you have good cycle tree and stuff. So if you do 2 houses, then you are going to have a very, like, you are going to be okay with houses for basically the whole Dark Age, with the 2 houses, and in the same time you're not going to kill your animal too early. It's not a big amount, but it's like 10 foot. But it's still good to not spoil 10 foot by letting your animal live for a few seconds before you go back to the TC. And on top of that, that means that you don't have to adapt to the Incas. You just play them the normal way. So I think I prefer 2 houses, but it's not a big deal. That being said, it's just my personal preference. I practiced this map with the AI, and somehow the AI is super strong on this map, because for the other maps, I would rather beat the AI even in extreme difficulty. But in this one, I couldn't beat even the harder AI, like not the hardest one, the one before the hardest. It beat me 2 times in a row. I don't know why, but I just couldn't beat it. Oh, oops. It's very difficult to do 2 things at the same time. But it looked like the board didn't react. I'm not sure why. Because of the number... No. Oof. Because of the number of villages, this sounded a bit like the beginning of movies. Like the opening to some movies. Like I'm not sure which one it is, but I think it's the single of a famous production company. Oops. Yeah, that was clutch. But you see daniwinks? I don't think you want to pick the upgrade, métier à tisser. I forgot the name in English. Loom. So that tells me that you probably got housed, and that was the reason you picked Loom. That wouldn't have happened if you had made 2 houses in the beginning. Okay, let's accelerate a bit now. Going to check the chats as well. My elo is like 1250. I did forget that this gave you some population. The one thing I remember about Fall Walk is that first it costs, I think it costs more, like, right? It costs 200 wood, but I may be wrong. But also, I remember that it gives you some bonus on your farms. That's what I remembered. Nice wall by daniwinks. Oh, sorry, there was a bit of a... this wall is very... that is very ambitious. I'm not sure this is going up. In a sense, in a way, it makes sense, because once you are in Castle Age, you are going to have the Kamayuks, and with the Kamayuks, you should be okay with most of what Beargwynk sends you. But the problem is that your opponent can clearly pressure you in Feudal Age, like they do, and then it gets a bit difficult. So that was very ambitious. It was ambitious, but I respect it, because it made some sense. It's actually going up. Actually, wait. The full wall is going up. Rimai, Kamachiwai, and we're going to see a very decent timing for Castle Age for daniwinks. There's one thing I don't like, though. I mentioned Civ adaptation. Wait, 1 second. Okay, my game was lagging. Wait. Okay, my computer is really struggling. Come on, come on. Okay, I think we're okay. I brought up sieve adaptation. You didn't pick the correct color. Incas should always be yellow. That's a no-brainer. They are the Incas. They are the gold civilization. They should be yellow. Oh no, that's unfortunate for this villager. Oof. Okay, you sacrificed the house. Okay, one thing which is going to matter a lot is if daniwinks is going to be able to respond to everything that Beargwynk does. And Beargwynk is going to get stuck in the feudal age for a long time. So if daniwinks manages to survive feudal age, then it's going to be a very nice advantage for daniwinks. That's super interesting. Okay, now daniwinks, Beargwynk is trying to save up for the transition, it seems. Okay, the economy is not perfect for daniwinks. That's the issue though. It's that it's difficult to react to the scouting and prepare for the next stage and stuff in the same time. But yeah. Okay, we're going to see the click for Beargwynk, but there's going to be like 3 or 4 minutes of difference. Okay, not TC yet for daniwinks. There's not really the economy for TC. And there's not either there's not the economy for a castle either. There's no stone from daniwinks. Howdy. I mean, it's great to be in castle age in advance. The one thing though is that if there is no castle, if there is no TC, if there's just a few eagle warrior, then castle age doesn't bring up that much in the end. So that's what makes me worried. Is that castle age is not going to be utilized that much. That's the thing that makes me worried. Okay, there's this. Maybe daniwinks is was thinking about the relics. Maybe that's what they had in mind. Gone. Gone. I'm not super convinced about this. Because your opponent is making a lot of eagle warrior. So, I'm not sure. Ah, cavalry archers. Ooh. I think you should split. Run for your lives. No, finish him. Oh, that's unfortunate. Would be interesting to see daniwinks go for the relics victory. None of you is making any new TC, so it's all about the aggression right now in Castle Age. Nice. It's the third game in a row where daniwinks is winning the early game. I hope that this one ends up being for daniwinks, because that would be so disheartening if all three games started as with an advantage for daniwinks and were all finished in the end won by Beargwynk. That would be devastating, I think, for the spirits. So I'm really rooting for daniwinks here. I like the I like your what you said, Maori, daniwinks. My economy is that monastery. That's exactly it. It's true that it's actually super fast. I didn't realize that when you have so many relics, look how much gold they bring. That's crazy. Okay, like this right now, because these are the villages that work on gold, but right now the gold is going up just because of the relics. It's incredibly fast. I didn't realize. But it's true that it's in usual you don't have like 10 relics. That is not something that happens in normal games, in normal maps. But you need to make one more monastery though. They're trying to put their relics in the monastery and they can. And this guy is super frustrating. So he goes back here, and then he will come back here. And in the meantime, he will just be like his poor back, his arms, they are getting sore. The poor guy. But that's quite a push from daniwinks. And the crazy thing with this is that daniwinks can just keep making siege just because of the relics. Okay, we have a new monastery now. Okay, nice raid here. We have seen comebacks from Beargwynk in the first two games, but in this situation, a comeback would be crazy. Like, this is starting to get very difficult for Beargwynk. Okay, we're starting to see nice expansion for the economy of Beargwynk. I really love this TC's location. I would have preferred the mining camp here, though. One TC here and mining camp here, but that one is still okay. So we have 12 relics. I think we're going to see the now. I really hope that you didn't forget to set the game as like with the standard victory, because in theory it's supposed to be like relic victory is supposed to be a thing. So we're going to check that right now, because I think these are the last two relics. There's no relic here. There's no relic elsewhere. Wait. Ground relic here. What is this guy doing? I think it's because of the villages. That bad thing though. Alright. Alright. The guy is messing with me. The guy is teasing. He keeps okay, there we go. The guy was teasing us. Like, he kept using very weird shortcuts and stuff. Took him ages to reach the monastery. But the thing is, daniwinks is the one pushing now, so Beargwynk has to defend against the push and also fight back and destroy the monastery at the same time. So it's super difficult. With the castle here. I hope... Oh well. You can play Meso. Ah, interesting. I like the reaction. You can actually. I hope that Beargwynk is going to resist and fight back and stuff. Yeah, true that. Because I want the game to be won by this. I'm hoping that it's not going to be a simple GG. It would be frustrating for me. But I understand that it's difficult for Beargwynk to find the spirits. Because they have won the stats anyway already. And this game looks unwinnable now for Beargwynk. And the castle, okay, the castle is going up. That's nice. But the problem is that daniwinks is in the Imperial Age and Beargwynk isn't. So the castle is up, but it's down just after that. With the trap. I think the trap is down here though. So the trap has a disadvantage. Okay, GG is called. Well, I mean it makes sense. First game was with monks, and it didn't with monks and siege, and didn't make a lot of sense. And yet the monks and siege won. And and this third game was monks and siege, and it didn't make that much sense, but it was won once again. So monks and siege is really the answer. Clowning is the answer to everything, it seems. That's the lesson of this set. Yeah, I get your point, Maori. It's true that it looks a bit small. That's true. But in terms of design, I've seen it criticized, but I have an idea of what the Inca civilization looks like. I have an idea of what Peru looks like. I've been to Peru once, and this really looks like the Machu Picchu and the Inca civilization. It really looks like it. Clearly, it was inspired by the Machu Picchu, or maybe the Inca constructions in general. And it really gives me big Inca vibes. Like, you know immediately which civ this is from. And I really love this. But it's true that it looks a bit small. I will give it that. Especially compared to this one. This one is massive. Even the mills are massive. Dum, 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 dum. Well, that was the set. Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. And it was nice to have you on the chat and to be so active in the chat. I hope some more people are going to look at this live later on, and to like, especially your opponents, your next opponents. They need to research on you to some degree, and maybe they can watch this game and they can see the chat and they can see the games. But yeah, in any case, it's a set that is worth watching because it was very tense and disputed, and that there was a lot of good adaptations to the civs, as well as to the opponents and to the maps, and the unit's choice was always a bit surprising, and I really appreciated that. So yeah, that's going to be it. I'm going to finish this stream. So thank you guys for joining.